How have you viewed this last news cycle in college football?
Well, Paul, I've come on your show many times over the years and said you actually couldn't 24 hours ago have scripted better material for your own show on May 19th than just unfolded the last 24 hours. You essentially have the coach of the number one and number two team in the country openly warring with each other, one subtly calling the other one out, or not so subtly, and then the other one going back full on junior high scorched earth, and then his AD doubles down and threatens to tell the principal. I mean, I mean, imagine like Bill Belichick and Sean McVay doing this. It is absolutely stunning, and it touches on so many things, Paul, which makes it interesting, right? I didn't think what Nick Saban said was all that bad. He said they were buying players. Well, guess what? You can buy players now. In a way, I took it as an admission that Texas A&M had a better mousetrap in place, had a better apparatus in place. It was like 10 years ago when Nick Saban complained about where offensive football was going. Well, he eventually went and got the best offense and ran the best spread and ran the best tempo. And it was sort of an admission that Alabama, either willfully or not, was behind Texas A&M. Texas A&M was doing a better job in procuring players through, as far as we know, the right, through the rules as they are now been rewritten. And 5 years ago, buying players was a dirty term. It's really not anymore. It's a way of life.
So let me get to really the story of the day, and that was a result of what Saban said. But there you got these two West Virginians going at it. One maybe a little more nuanced than the other, but just put in context what Jimbo Fisher had to say about not just the greatest football coach of today, maybe of all time, but also one of the most respected figures in American sports. And as you said, he undressed him. He insinuated many things that people can draw their own conclusions about, but he didn't leave very much unsaid, did he?
Well, I mean, using the term despicable multiple times.
15.
And don't forget, Paul. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad. That's why the Finebaum Show exists, to count the despicables. Don't forget, Jimbo worked for Nick. I mean, Nick really gave Jimbo one of his biggest breaks back at LSU in the early 2000s. If I remember right, Jimbo was at Cincinnati before then. So, for him to really go scorched earth on his old boss the way that he did, I mean, it actually hints that there's really more probably to this, and more probably in the undercurrent. But that's probably the most surprising part. Is you would have to think on some level there's a good relationship there between those coaches, or at least there was at some point. But boy, is there not anymore. And if I could only count the number of popcorn emojis, the number of anything going on in college football today's, the number of administrators, coaches, assistant coaches who've checked in. I mean, the entire college football world is agape right now at this high-level, blood feud.
And I want to get to the third rail of all this, and that's something that Ross Bjork said today. I mean, talking about the emperor with no clothes, I guess he called on the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, but I'll leave you to describe where does Greg Sankey fit into this, if anywhere?
I don't think he fits anywhere into it. I think there's part of A&M that still has that second school mentality that's honestly like using this as a way to announce themselves. And that's why I took Ross Bjork's comments. There is no way Greg Sankey's going to sanction Nick Saban on any of this. I thought that was a little bit corny and a little bit lowbrow for A&M to go tattle to the principal about this. I really think that A&M has built a wonderful program. We'll believe it when we see it. Look, that's a school that hasn't won a conference championship in a generation, right? So on the field, they're feeling their oats. They're feeling their recruiting rankings. And look, they are set up in the NIL era because of the money that school has to be a power. I mean, there's no reason why Texas A&M shouldn't be a power. But there's also a sense, before the Ross Bjorks of the world get too chesty, that you have to do it on the field. And they have not done that yet, in no way, shape, or form, under Jimbo Fisher or anyone before him to R.C. Slocum. to be honest. That place has been filled with unfulfilled potential. So I just think before you're going to undress the emperor, you better beat him and win a national championship. And they did beat him last year, but I really think that I think they put the cart before the horse a little bit. And those comments on your show and others are going to keep coming up and keep coming up.
Yeah, Bjork, called it a personal attack. He mentioned the SEC bylaw, and he said Saban is lashing out, Pete, because he is threatened. Yeah. Ross Bjork, of course, has been at this juncture before. So before you go, it doesn't really matter who people side with. It's a bare knuckles brawl. There's no way anybody really comes out of this well. But is anything really going to change? Because it seemed like people that were in the audience watching this in real time, not like we have, a couple of hours later, felt like Saban, I may have gotten my metaphors mixed there. Saban was really trying to send a message. Why can't somebody do anything about this?
Well, Paul, I've said this on your show numerous times over the years, and I got a few texts from coaches about it today. This whole episode underscores the impetus of enforcement. I mean, I sat in the back of the federal courtroom and saw testimony about schools, committing violations. And the NCAA can't even get that right. That was 2017, 5 years ago. Do you think they're going to get around sophisticated outsourced NIL stuff? There's no way. NCAA enforcement is dead. That's the way that the landscape is operating right now. And until the NCAA shows us otherwise, that's the way the landscape's going to go.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.